So I didn't know how to start this video, but when I was Googling Bleach, I found a bunch of news stories from 2020 about how people drank bleach to fight coronavirus and died. It's on theme, right? If you own a classic Nintendo dual screen and lived in the States, then you probably owned a game like Bleach the Blade of Fate, a fighting game. You got light, medium, and heavy attacks, special moves and supers, bullshit AI. I didn't play long enough to figure out how to do the crazy stuff, but I know you can do them because the computer did it to me all the time. There are a lot of modes too, arcades, story, challenges, a good amount of single player content. I have issues with it though. I know it's an anime fighter and you're supposed to do big combos to drain health, but the health is too high. The fights are one round, so I feel dividing them into two and cutting the health bar would make it feel like matches were shorter. But this format makes it feel like the game takes forever and starts to feel tedious after 30 seconds. Feels tedious after 30 seconds, much like this video. No, that's a stupid joke. Here are these cards you can use on the touchscreen to either give yourself buffs or debuff your opponent. They didn't really seem that useful to me, so most of the time I had it on the other screen, which is using special moves by touching the touchpad instead of doing button inputs. You ever tried to do a full circle motion on a D-pad of the DS? It gives me depression. There's also a 4-player mode, which needed some more time in the oven. 1 year later they made a sequel, Bleach Dark Souls. Yeah, that makes this the Dark Souls of Bleach games. They did improve on some things. Inputs I feel are easier to pull off and more responsive. It's still a long one-round fight though. Put time on, you'll be fine I guess. The next game that arrived a year later was Bleach the Third Phantom. You'd think, oh, it's another fighting game, right? It's got third in the name, indicating it's a sequel. It's on the DS, came out a year later. Nope. It's a tactical RPG with an original story written by Tite Kubo himself. Is the story great because it's written by the original author? It has time travel. I don't really care for this one. When it comes to anime games, I want to be the characters from the anime, not some non-canon OCs. I want to play as my fucking waifu. The game lacks polish too. You'd think it's hard to fuck up controls for a tactical game, but I mean, they did it. The cursor feels so stiff, it moves along the grid and it's isometric, so you have to adjust the way you press the D-pad, since, you know, going up goes right up and down goes down left, and it's annoying. Fuck isometry. Isometry? Isometry. Also, as far as I know, you can't skip or speed up animations, so hope you brought an emulator. The final DS game is the fourth Flamebringer, released exclusively in Japan. Look at that title screen, man. I love it when you see DS games that were designed for the original system like this. That's art. So this game uses sprites from the fighting games, but is a side-scrolling action game. It's also made by Dimps, so this game shares a lot of similarities with the One Piece game on GBA. Unlike the One Piece game, this one was a slog to play. It does that thing I hate that games do, where they give you the superpower move set at the start of the game, but then take it away after the tutorial stage. It's like, why take that away from me? Why start me off like that in the first place? Because now, for the rest of the game, at least 80-90% of it, I'm going to be playing as a lamer version of a character I already know can be way better. Dual screen also hides platforms sometimes that can block you from jumping up, which can get annoying after a while. The game also suffers from slow down.
Fun fact. Do you know why the series Bleach is named after a type of chlorine? It's because the original title for the manga was black, referring to the color of the robes worn by the Soul Reapers. But Tite Kubo was told that name was shit, so he switched it to white. He was told that was shit. He eventually settled on Bleach after deciding it evoked the color white without being generic.
Now if you were a Bleach fan in Japan, the console to own at the time was the PSP. 9 games total released for it, 7 of them being these 3D anime fighters called Bleach Heat the Soul. And like, we all can agree, right? That's the best name for a Bleach game. Now they're all at the core the same, because they were made a year apart on the same console. The first one's fine. It has a serious lack of content, which is because it takes place before the Soul Society arc, so all the cool characters don't exist yet. I do like the UI and menus, especially the character select screen. You play these games by using X and circle to attack, triangle jumps, and squares charging your ki, I mean spiritual power. I don't completely understand everything. There's this meter in the middle that changes depending on who's winning. I'm not exactly sure what it affects. After playing for a while, I think it's the meter for doing supers, but it's shared between both players. Movement feels really stiff too. This is also due to the game not running very smoothly. But whatever, it's the first one. No one remembers the first of any fighting game. 2's the same, so I'm just going to skip it. Now 3 is where they start doing big changes. For one, the roster is expanding. Look, we got 2 forms of Ichigo. 12 more, and we'll be a real anime fighter. They also introduced assists, which are kinda helpful in a 3D environment. While some of the technical aspects of the gameplay improved, some things kinda declined, like the overall presentation. It's just a menu with a PNG image. Also, the announcer has gotten worse.
Can you survive? Ready, fight!
Can you survive? Ready, fight!
Now 4 might actually be my favorite one. It's mainly due to the movement. This is running at 60 FPS, I can definitely tell that. And it's all kinds of cool dashes, sidestep mechanics, you know, real good anime shit. Like, look at that, look at that. I don't know what the fuck that was, but it was cool. It also got rid of that weird middle meter thing in place of traditional fighting game meters. The menus are still suffering though, it's a silhouette now. Now the next 3 are not as good in my opinion for various reasons, but they do something really good, which is add a tag mechanic. Yeah, your characters can not only do an assist move, but you can switch between them when available. Needless to say, this is a really great addition. It sucks that the game goes back to 30 FPS. Trust me, 60 makes a huge difference when playing a fighting game. 6 and 7 are just expansions on 5, tightening controls, adding more characters, you know, all that rigmarole. Do people still say rigmarole? I need a more modern vocabulary. The only thing notable about 6 really is that they got a better announcer finally.
Can you survive? Ready, fight!
7 I like because I can play as Nell and Harabel. There's no joke or anything to that, they're hot. Despite the tag stuff, 4 is still my favorite. It just feels the nicest to play because of that smooth frame rate. If I'm looking for the roster and tag mechanic, then I choose 7, because I can play as Motaro with tits. If fighting games aren't your thing, you better look somewhere else, because the only 2 games left on the PSP are Bleach Soul Carnival. Bleach Soul Carnival 1 and 2 are side-scrollers with RPG elements. The main reason they're not fun is the controls. When you use the D-pad, it feels like there's a big delay between when you press the button and the action on screen, and Ichigo feels very sluggish, like he weighs more than he looks even when you're dashing. I thought the game would have a lot more flow and feel a lot more lightweight, especially with this chibi style that I hate. Like it looks like the Bleach mobile game. I'm pretty sure the mobile game just took sprites from this game, or that game put its sprites in here, like whichever came first. The second one is an improvement, but it's not that much better. It does cover the entirety of Bleach's story, at least what the anime was up to at the time, so there's a lot of content there. Combat feels better, a bit more responsive when I press the buttons, but the movement still doesn't feel that great, which in a platformer I think is very important to nail.
Fun fact. Did you know Rukia was originally supposed to be the main character of Bleach? In the original conception of Bleach it was called Snipe, and Rukia's weapon was a scythe, and many of the enemies she faced used guns. Through developing the series, eventually Ichigo became the main character and the guns were replaced with more traditional Japanese swords, as it slowly evolved into the Bleach we know today. Guess you could say Kubo. No scoped it.
So many fucking cars outside. Alright, let's go back to Nintendo briefly, and I mean briefly, because Bleach games on the other Nintendo consoles are the literal worst. There's Bleach Advance, which is rock, paper, scissors. You select an action, and hope your opponent didn't select the action that counters it. Boring. On the GameCube, there's Bleach GC Tasogare ni Mamieru Shinigami. It's another 3D fighter, and it's the 3rd worst one. Movement is so stiff, it feels like I can only move a couple centimeters or a mile, there's no in-between. Attacks feel delayed and take too long to finish. Despite all that, it's super easy. Because here's what you do, you pick Orihime, right? And she has a special attack. Not a super, not like some special condition or anything, a special attack you can do at any time, as long as you have the meter for it, which heals you. So what you do is, you keep knocking down the opponent, and then heal yourself with the move. You literally can't lose. So those 2 are bad, but the Bleach game's on the Wii. And yes, it's because of motion controls. Now, I'm not a motion control hater like a lot of people. If done right, they can make for some very fun games. This was not done well. Bleach Shattered Blade was released in America and is another 3D anime fighter. If you want to do a basic attack, you have to waggle the Wii remote. No button inputs. You shake the Wii remote in a direction, maybe holding A or B, and then a move comes out. Motion controls are fine in moderation, but it expects you to keep doing this constantly. Direction does matter for special moves and combos, but most of the time you're just going. By the second round of the arcade, I was already tired and wanted to stop playing, which is crazy because I do this motion like every day. The other Wii game, Versus Crusade, does at least map some moves to pressing A and B, but basic combos are still jerking the Wii remote. If that wasn't enough, this game moves too fast. You're zipping all around while your opponent does the same, assists are coming out every 5 seconds. This would all be fine if you could control yourself better. You're either too tired from waggling to focus on what you need to be doing, or you're too confused about what's going on to even start waggling in the first place. Now, the last few Bleach games are on the PS2. There are 2 games known as Bleach the Blade Battlers. These are 4-player brawlers similar to Power Stone. Not much to say about these, and they're fine. Fun to play with some friends for an afternoon, then never again. The second one can get annoying, since every character has a special form they can transform into, and when everyone builds up enough meter and they're done back to back, it gets very annoying. Because you have to watch the whole animation. Every time. Bleach Erabareshi Tamashi is special to me because when I played it, I had a lot of fun. And then that quickly faded. It's sort of a 3D beat-em-up type of game. You enter a stage and you have to beat a certain amount of hollows to move on until you get to the boss at the end. I had a lot of fun at first because it seems like a fun idea for a game, right? Play as Bleach characters, you beat up hollows. It even has loading screen mini-games. I haven't seen those in forever. However, as you keep playing, the crack starts showing. For one, you need to kill so many enemies to move on. It takes forever. They aren't hard, you just spam attack and they die in like a couple hits. It's just too many keep spawning. In fact, so much spawn on the screen that even the game can't handle it and it starts slowing down a lot. I also noticed some animations were not good. Like, look at Chad. What are you doing? Is that supposed to be punching? Also, Renji's a boss again, and look, I'm gonna say it, because it seems to keep happening with these Bleach games. If Renji is like a major boss, like not even just like a mini boss, like a major boss, the game was made too early, and it's gonna suck. The last game I'll be looking at is Bleach Hanatareshi Yabu, an RPG that sort of spins off from the manga storyline. It's actually a hard RPG. Enemies do a lot of damage at the start, and there's even a beginner's trap in one of the tutorial battles. If you don't target a specific enemy, you will die. Yeah, I don't really have anything really bad to say about it. I mean, it's totally up my alley. An RPG featuring anime characters that I like, sign me up. Like, it's really cool getting to walk around Katakura Town. And walking, and you're walking, and walking. Okay, there's so much walking in this game, specifically going back and forth between locations. You go here, and then you go there, and then you go back to where you started. Go to Urahara Shop, you go fight a hollow, back to Urahara Shop, then go fight another hollow, back to shore. I'm not kidding when I say 70% of my footage of this game is just me walking. Bleach Walking Simulator. Now there is one last Bleach game, but I'm not looking at it. It's Bleach Soul Resurrection, released in 2011 for PS3. And actually I don't own a PS3, but I was gonna buy one just so I can play this game. But while making this video, I became unemployed, so blame life for that loss of content. Who knows, maybe in 10 years I'll come back and finish the saga as intended. I'm kidding, that's a joke, I'm never talking about the show again.